Do you want to know how to make passive income as an illustrator? Then watch this. Nah. Imagine this. You're making money while you sleep. Your art, your prints and your product are out there generating a regular income every day without you having to lift a finger. Who wouldn't want that? It sounds like a dream. You can create something once, whether it's a print or a book or an online course or whatever fun product idea you have, and that will make money for you for years to come. And you can continue to feed that system by making more of what you love and posting it online. Passive income is what I've just described. You make something valuable once, then continue to sell it over the long term with minimal effort. Active income would be activities where you actually have to do the work at the time to get paid, like being commissioned by a client. Passive income is possible, but how do you actually get there? I'm going to share the secret today. And while it might not be what you expect, it's going to be the one thing that makes the biggest difference. The real secret to making passive income as an illustrator isn't about mastering social media ads or having the perfect landing page or sales funnel or latching onto trends. It's way more simple than that. The real secret, I'm out of breath. The secret to making passive income, this is going to take a while, I've got to catch my breath. The secret to making passive income from your illustrations is getting really, really good at what you do. It's that simple and that challenging. I see a lot of videos of artists on social media and YouTube sharing how much money they made last month from all the different income streams that they have, selling prints, online course sales, licensing their patterns, doing commissioned work, donations from Patreon supporters, and that's all well and good. Maybe you think seeing those numbers is inspiring, or maybe you find it a little bit demoralizing. But either way, those artists wouldn't make any money from those sources if they hadn't taken the time to get their skills to the standard where people wanted to pay for them. Their skill is the foundation that all those income streams are built on. Without that foundation, you're building on sand and you're going to struggle to sell anything. If you can't get a client to hire you for a commission, you're probably not going to be able to sell your own products very easily. When you've taken the time to acquire and refine those skills, then the sky's the limit. This isn't a work hard and maybe you'll get there someday kind of message. Mastering your skills and style is the fastest and most reliable way to reach the point where your art starts working for you. The better you get, the easier it becomes to attract the right opportunities, the right audience, and real clients. If you try to skip this step, as hard as that step is, you may find yourself with an online store that doesn't make any sales, traveling to print fairs where you barely break even, and you're spending your time making merch that nobody wants. That sounds like a different kind of dream, an anxiety dream. When you discover a new artist or musician or comedian and they seem to have come out of nowhere and now they're everywhere, you might be tempted to think of them as an overnight success. But being an overnight success is a myth. You just haven't seen all the crappy jobs they've taken over the years and the other badly paid gigs in dimly lit bars they've done. Most overnight successes have spent years and years plugging away at their art, being invisible and underpaid and underappreciated. But in those years, they've been honing their craft and perfecting their skills. And then one day, hopefully, they're rewarded for all that effort and all that perseverance. And then they explode and people can't get enough of them. All that work they put in, chasing opportunities, now means the opportunities start coming to them. They would never have got there if they hadn't put in that hard work at the start. Have you ever heard that old joke? A guy stops someone on the street in New York and says, "How do you get to Carnegie Hall?" The guy says, "Practice." How about this one? How do you get to make passive income from your illustrations? If you're at the very start of your illustration career, you might be tempted to try all these different things to make money. Prints, products, courses, Patreon, licensing, art fairs, YouTube even, and whatever else. But your focus is going to be spread so thin, trying to spin all those plates, that you won't have enough time to get really, really good at what you do. You may make some steady growth as you advance very slowly. Selling products at $5 or $25 is a pretty low price, and some people will buy your stuff. but it's going to require an enormous amount of effort to sell mediocre products long term. You'll soon hit a plateau and won't be able to get past it without returning to the foundations. If you say to yourself, I'm going to spend 3 years learning everything I can about my art and practice every day, and maybe that means working a crappy day job just to pay the bills, at the end of it, you'll be able to make products and courses and Instagram reels that people can't get enough of because you'll be good at what you do. Maybe not really good yet, but on your way. People like looking at and buying from people who are really good at something. The start will feel a lot slower, and you may not make any money from your art for those first few years, but it's an investment, one that will pay off in spades. One way you'll make some minor progress that you may be satisfied with at first, but is ultimately limited. The other, you might feel like you're not making any progress at all for a while, financially anyway, but when you've mastered those foundational skills, you'll be able to make progress much faster and go much further in your career. It's not an easy decision to make when you're looking at it from the start, from the bottom of the mountain, and you really want to make some money. But I think your future self will thank you for putting the effort in up front. I've mentioned some passive income streams that illustrators could feasibly aim for, and I'll go through a few more here, but it's worth saying that 100% passive income is a bit of an illusion, because for anything you want to sell, you have to get your name out there to potential buyers and market what you're offering, which is a lot of work in itself. Speaking of which, check out my book, The Illustrator's Guide. Excellent advice for whatever stage you're at as an illustrator, is what one reviewer has said about it. So you've got products. They could be physical things like greetings cards, gifty sort of merchandise, like pin badges or t-shirts. Prints and original artworks are obviously very common for artists. It could also be digital products like brush packs, for example. But if they aren't any good, nobody will buy them. Then you've got things like online courses and tutorials. Maybe you want to get into the teaching space and make a few classes on Skillshare. Great, but if you don't have any credibility or haven't taken the time to learn skills other people want to learn, why would anybody want to learn from you? I've got a couple of classes on Skillshare and I've got a decent amount of experience in the industry, but even so, I have a hard time trying to get people to watch my classes. Link in the description if you're interested. If I put the same classes up there with no experience and no credibility, even if the classes were as good as they are, nobody would watch them. Making royalties on illustrated books is potentially a good passive income, but most books don't ever sell enough copies so they start paying out royalties. And you have to be initially good enough to catch the eye of a publisher and get a book deal. That is a really long-term option. There's plenty more things that could, in theory, be an additional income stream for you. And you can type passive income ideas for artists into YouTube and you'll find a dearth of decent ideas. But if you do try to do any of them before you've become a skilled artist who makes work people really like and want to pay for, you're going to be pushing a rock uphill. If you get good first and build up some fans, then you could launch a product and sell out in minutes. Speaking of building up fans, what you can do from the start is build your personal brand. Now that might be on social media or YouTube or through a blog. You don't need to be an expert to start doing that, because you can do things like documenting your experiences and sharing what you've learned, and you can experiment in public and let people into your world. Share your wins and your struggles. People relate to that authenticity in a really big way. There's nothing easy about building that up, but again, it's an investment. You can build up trust and recognition with other artists and people that are on the same path as you. You don't need to sell them anything, you just connect with them and build a relationship. And then one day, when you do have something to sell, these people who you spent time with and you've shared your experiences with may just be your first customers, and more than likely your cheerleaders. They'll tell other people about you and your product, and they'll become a pretty essential part of your marketing team. So while it might not bring you immediate financial returns, building your personal brands is probably one of the smartest investments you can make. So what I hope I'm communicating here is that slow and steady wins the race. You can't really skip the hard part of becoming a really good artist if you want to sell your art long term. Passive income is achievable for artists who have something valuable to share, whether that's their skills or their knowledge. The upfront investment of daily practice and learning new skills and experimenting and failing is what will ultimately set you apart from all the other illustrators who are spinning too many plates trying to make $10 here and $50 there. That is so much harder in the long run and far less sustainable, because once you've got those indisputable, rock-solid skills. Selling them is the easy part. So if you want my advice, which if you've made it this far, hopefully you do, don't even think about passive income or diversifying your income streams. Have a one-track mind. Get really, really good at what you do. You get good by active work, not passive work. It's regular practice and reaching out to clients directly. One day, someone will say to you, where can I buy a print of this illustration? Or can you show me how to do this thing? That's when you'll know you can start moving into some other income streams. If you like this video, you'll probably like this one, which has some really actionable tips in it on how you can get good at what you do. See you next time. Passive income for illustrators? Is that even possible? Passive income as an illustrator? No way, dude. I want some of that. Break me off a piece of that. Yeah, bro, give me that passive income.